probably the absolute worst time to be filming a YouTube video just because I live in Midtown Manhattan and it is 5:30 on a snow day, so everybody's trying to get out of the city right before the storm gets really bad. So if you hear honking, I'm NYC Emily. I live in NYC. I'm just not even gonna really apologize for it. It is what it is. I know that you guys are here because you are clicking on a video with this title about emotional support animals, why we need them, something like that. And you're probably clicking on it because you want to come here and leave some comments trying to prove your point of why, you know, you're happy that they're getting rid of emotional support animals on flights. Or maybe you're here because you agree with me and you think that we should have emotional support animals and they are helpful. This documentary that you guys are about to watch is a documentary that I had created about a year and a half ago, and it has sat in my drafts on my YouTube channel because it is such an important documentary, and I kind of felt like I wanted to always keep working on it until I felt that it was perfect. And I never thought that we would be in the final hour of trying to, you know, I just never thought that we would get to a point where emotional support animals would no longer be, you know, federally protected on flights. Thank you. Like I said, please watch this with an open mind, and I'll be waiting for the comments to blow up. Ultimately, if you guys want to save a little bit on your emotional support animal letter, I did used to work at Certapet, so I can definitely vouch and tell you inside and out they are a fantastic company and they are only always trying to do the right thing. So let me know. My email is in the description. The code to save on your emotional support animal letter is also in the description, but this video is not sponsored and I didn't want it to be. I just want to help you guys out who are curious. All right, thank you.
Hey, I'm Emily and this is Calvin. He's not just my fur baby, he is my emotional support animal and has been proudly helping me manage my anxiety for the last 2 years. Long story short, I have pretty bad flying anxiety, and without Calvin being able to sit with me, I'd miss out on some pretty awesome adventures. Although Calvin is my personal superhero, ESAs come with quite a stigma. There's often a negative connotation around the term emotional support animal. It's usually followed by phrases such as fake service dog, or just general jokes made around the term emotional support. And I'm pretty sure that the media has had a big role in that.
I hate emotional support dogs. You guys know what those are, right? When someone says, oh, I have trouble flying, so they get to bring their dog on the plane.
She's a dinosaur.
I mean, he needs her for emotional support.
Figure out what animal with a tusk could possibly emotionally support you.
I have friends that need service dogs and there's an actual medical need for that, but emotional support, I mean, sometimes it's just not necessary. Sometimes you just have to get your emotions in check and kind of deal with it.
Here's the thing. We're all going through something. 1/3 of the United States is suffering from mental health issues, and if an animal can make a positive impact in someone's life, then I am all for that. I've decided to set out and find compelling stories to share with the world surrounding the beautiful work of ESAs. I want to publish positive content that really showcases what it is truly like to have an ESA. And if you still decide that it's not for you, then that's okay. But I want you to know why ESAs are important to those that need them.
Hey, welcome.
Hi. Hi, my name is Jana and this is Hagan, and we want to share our story with you.
Meet Jana and her ESA, Hagan. Jana is such a kind and generous woman who, like the majority of the human race, has gone through some hard times in life. Her dog Hagan, who is her ESA, has really helped her feel supported again. This is their story.
In 2016, it was a time in my life where I was the most vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, it's the loneliness I felt. I live life for others, not just for me. And so when I was forced in a situation where it was just me, I didn't know how to move in that. And that's where seeing this guy is like, okay, I need someone to love and someone to love me. Before him, it was, how do I even get up? Like, why do I get up in the day? And now, as opposed to thinking about me, it was thinking about his needs. And yes, so it did start to melt away. He needed me, and I didn't know at the time, but I needed him. But in the first several months, it was just kind of learning him as he was learning me, but it was learning what his needs were, and that filled a big gap, a big void in my life.
I didn't want to be alone anymore, and I didn't know what that meant, like as far as how I was going to share my life with a living being. And my aunt came to visit to make sure I was okay, and she asked me to get up my laptop. And Hagan, his picture showed up, and we were looking at, she asked me a couple questions about, what was important to me, and I said hypoallergenic, and I want to be able to lift him if I need to. And next thing you know, I see this picture of Hagan, and I knew it was him. He created this calmness. When I looked at him, he told me I was going to be okay, and he had this quiet confidence about him, and this strength that I needed. And the next thing you know, I was contacting the owner and arranging to pick him up. Hagan's favorite thing to do is to eat Puppy Scoops ice cream. And he also doesn't know why people take their shoes off, because he likes to pick them up and bring them to you, and that's one of his favorite things to do. Another favorite things to do is to grab any piece of paper. I mean, any piece of paper. He likes to do that. What else do you like to do? Oh yeah, he likes to be scratched. That's what he likes to do. So we just got Furbo. Right now we're practicing identifying that means it's going to give me a treat. And inside there's little just dried pieces of beef. So he goes up to it and it makes this little sound, and then the Furbo spits out some treats for him. And he loves that. He's getting used to that. So that's a new thing that we've introduced. So Hagan and I's routine is I get him up and he looks at me and says, this morning is she gonna work out, or is she gonna get ready for work? And if I'm gonna get ready for work, then he asks to go to the bathroom. If I'm gonna work out, that means he's gonna sleep in longer until I get home. So depending on how I start my mornings, depending on how he's gonna start his. And then when I'm downstairs and he can hear that the morning is starting, whether I start the coffee and the refrigerator opens, that's a sign for him to come downstairs too, because it's time for him to eat. And he sits literally in the kitchen waiting for his breakfast to be served. And he sits there patiently, but he knows it's coming. And then afterward, he has to go to the bathroom. And then after that, he either goes to daycare, or and I'm off to work, or he stays home and he has a walker that comes and walks him halfway through the day. And then I come home and it's like the best, because he's so excited to see me. It's like the best thing. It's the best greeting ever, every day. And then we take a short walk, and then we get dinner started together. And so we eat our meals. He eats his breakfast. And if it's a weekend, we eat our lunch together, and then we always have our dinners together. So he eats his dinner, and so it's. And then afterward, in the evening, he knows that it's either a walk or I'll do a little bit of reading or a little bit of work. And then around 10 o'clock, either I'm telling him or he's telling me it's time for bed. And when I walk upstairs, he's right up there behind me. So when Hagan and I fly together, it's pretty funny when I pack for him. It's like I associate with honestly like having him for a little kid, because I always include a little toy, and I always include some snacks, and making sure that I have a water bottle, an empty water bottle, and I can fill it once we're checked through. When Hagan and I fly together, I always do leave extra time for, just in case, for check-in. Checking in, when we get to the checkout counter, I always ensure that I have my certapet documentation with me. My letter from my therapist is there as well, and I always have my card just in case they ask for it. With Hagan's, it's like my prescription. I'm really impressed with the way that Hagan and I are treated. There are nerves with me when I go to check in, thinking that is this going to be okay, or how are they going to respond to me? We're a minority, and it's people look, I think, out of curiosity, but sometimes I'm a bit nervous. But every single time, I'm surprised with such kindness. We have TSA pre-check, and I have TSA pre-check, and I take him through there, and I allow him to go first, and it's funny, the TSA member, they'll just kneel down and they'll grab him. They're actually always excited to be able to have him go into their arms. And then I walk through, and then we go into the waiting area, and we just sit there on our own, and he just waits patiently. And yeah, that's about it. But normally we have people coming up to us and asking us about his name, or how long have I had him, what's his breed. So it actually brings a lot of, it brings people together. He brings people together even in the waiting area. So last year Hagan and I went to go visit family in Washington, D.C. And there was severe wind that caused major turbulence on the plane. And I had Hagan, I was sitting in the aisle seat, and I had Hagan on my shoulders, and he had one paw on each side, and he was looking towards the back of the plane. Now, I was sending messages to myself like, okay, if this is it, just please go fast, because the turbulence was the worst I've ever experienced, and I've used to fly, every couple times every month. And so I was just holding on to Hagan really tight and just trying to stay calm, and obviously I was looking at the flight attendants to see if, like, is this bad? Not really paying attention to what Hagan was doing towards the back of the plane, just looking over my shoulder. We did land, and then everyone was clapping on the plane. And then when Hagan and I deboarded, we were waiting at baggage claim, and it was this surreal feeling, because people started coming up around us, like just circling us, around 20 people, and either they were crying or people were just asking all these questions. It was like cameras going off on us, people were doing FaceTime with their family, and telling me the story that I remember one lady specifically said that he prevented her from going to a full-blown panic attack, because Hagan apparently had his tongue hanging out and smiling on the back of half back of the plane, and people were saying that they just focused on him, and one lady's like, I just focused on him, and another lady and then a man over here was saying, yeah, me too, I was doing the same thing. And so apparently he was ESA for a half of a plane on that flight, and yeah, so it was a pretty surreal experience, but that experience also told me that this is for real. I mean, he was an emotional support for a time that caused complete anxiety in a flight. So.
After hearing Jana's story about her flight, it made me think about when I travel with Calvin. Oftentimes, many children and adults excitedly make their way over to pet Calvin. It's almost like traveling with a celebrity. It's a really cool thing to see the joy that washes over people's faces as they approach. Emotional support animals are important for those reasons, even if they seem small. When you smile, endorphins are released, which means your brain is throwing you a feel-good party. When happiness chemicals flood your brain, you get an overall health boost. The ability to make a complete stranger smile for a few minutes is such a rewarding feeling. I really want to give a special thank you to Jana and Hagan for courageously sharing their story. And thank you to all who have watched this. I hope that I have left you with a better and more positive understanding of what it is like in the ESA community. Take care.